Mount Everest, the tallest mountain on Earth, stands at approximately 8,849 meters, 29,032 feet, above sea level. It is part of the Himalayas, a vast mountain range that stretches across Nepal, Tibet, India, Bhutan, and Pakistan. The mountain lies on the border between Nepal and the Tibet Autonomous Region of China, with its southern face in Nepal and its northern face in Tibet. Known as Sagarmatha in Nepal and Chomolungma in Tibet, Everest has captivated explorers, adventurers, and scientists for centuries. The formation of Mount Everest can be traced back to the collision of the Indian Plate with the Eurasian Plate, a process that began around 50 to 60 million years ago. This geological activity forced layers of sedimentary rock, originally deposited in ancient seas, to be uplifted to extreme altitudes. Even today, Everest continues to rise by a few millimeters each year due to ongoing tectonic movement. The mountain summit is covered in snow and ice year-round, with glaciers such as the Khumbu Glacier and the Rongbuk Glacier shaping its terrain. The extreme altitude and harsh weather conditions make the environment at the summit extremely inhospitable. The atmospheric pressure at the top of Everest is only about 1/3 of what it is at sea level, making breathing difficult. This lack of oxygen can lead to altitude sickness, a condition that can cause severe headaches, dizziness, nausea, and even life-threatening complications such as cerebral or pulmonary edema. The first serious attempts to climb Mount Everest were made by British expeditions in the early 20th century. One of the most famous early climbers was George Mallory, who participated in multiple attempts during the 1920s. He famously responded to the question of why he wanted to climb Everest with the now legendary phrase, "Because it is there." Mallory and his climbing partner, Andrew Irvine, disappeared during their 1924 expedition, and it remains a mystery whether they reached the summit before perishing. Their bodies were not found until decades later. The first confirmed successful ascent of Mount Everest was achieved on May 29, 1953, by Sir Edmund Hillary of New Zealand and Tenzing Norgay, a Nepalese Sherpa climber. Their historic climb was a defining moment in mountaineering history and brought worldwide attention to Everest. Since then, thousands of climbers from all over the world have attempted to reach the peak, with varying degrees of success. There are two primary routes to the summit of Mount Everest: the southern route from Nepal and the northern route from Tibet. The southern route is the more commonly used path and involves trekking through the Khumbu region, passing through the famous town of Namche Bazaar before reaching Everest Base Camp. From there, climbers must navigate the treacherous Khumbu Icefall, a constantly shifting maze of ice blocks and crevasses. After passing through several high-altitude camps, climbers must tackle the final obstacles, including the Lhotse Face, the South Col, and the infamous Hillary Step, a near-vertical rock face just below the summit. The northern route from Tibet is considered more technically challenging, but has fewer logistical obstacles, such as the dangerous Khumbu Icefall. Climbers on this route ascend via the North Col, making their way through steep, exposed ridges before reaching the summit. Both routes require immense physical endurance, mental strength, and weeks of acclimatization to prevent altitude sickness. Despite the thrill and prestige of summiting Everest, the climb is fraught with danger. The so-called death zone, which begins above 8,000 meters, 26,247 feet, is where the body begins to deteriorate due to the lack of oxygen. In this extreme environment, climbers experience exhaustion, confusion, and impaired decision-making. Many climbers rely on bottled oxygen to survive at this altitude. The weather on Everest is highly unpredictable, with sudden storms, high winds, and freezing temperatures posing additional risks. Avalanches and icefalls are constant threats, and many climbers have lost their lives due to these natural hazards. Over the years, Mount Everest has become a highly commercialized climbing destination. Hundreds of climbers attempt the summit each season, leading to severe overcrowding on the mountain. In peak climbing periods, long queues form near the summit, with climbers waiting for hours in freezing temperatures. These delays have led to fatal consequences, as exhaustion and lack of oxygen take their toll. Additionally, the mountain has suffered from environmental degradation due to the accumulation of waste left behind by climbers, including discarded oxygen canisters, food wrappers, and even human waste. Efforts to combat pollution and overcrowding have been introduced in recent years. Nepal and Tibet have imposed stricter regulations requiring climbers to carry back their waste and limiting the number of permits issued each season. Cleanup expeditions have also been organized to remove trash from the mountain. However, Everest's allure continues to draw climbers, and the challenge of reaching the world's highest peak remains one of the most coveted achievements in mountaineering. Beyond its physical and historical significance, Mount Everest holds deep cultural and spiritual meaning for local communities. For the Sherpa people of Nepal, Everest is regarded as a sacred mountain, and many climbers perform traditional Buddhist ceremonies before their ascent to seek blessings for a safe journey. The region surrounding Everest is also home to important religious sites, including the Tengboche Monastery, a spiritual hub for both monks and climbers. Despite its many dangers and challenges, Mount Everest remains a symbol of human perseverance, adventure, and the quest for greatness. It continues to inspire explorers, scientists, and nature enthusiasts, reminding the world of both the power and fragility of nature.